Hello and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we have Paul Whiteside. All right, Paul.
Hey, Rob, you okay, mate?
Yeah, good. How's your week been, mate, so far?
Yeah, very busy. Very busy. Had a bit of a sulk on Sunday afternoon. But I'm feeling a bit better now. Been a bit rough last few days, but I'm feeling all right. Looking forward to Thursday, mate.
Yeah, I've been celebrating England's famous win against Germany in the Euros tonight. And also, I know a guy who's probably doing the same. I'm joined by Paul Parkin. You've been enjoying England's victory, Paul?
Oh, I thought they were playing.
That's
a shame. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, phenomenal. Cheered me up no end, that. I certainly needed a bit of a pick-me-up. So that's done the trick for a couple of days at least. So, fantastic that. And it's great to be chatting to you two boys again.
Yeah, it's good to know that we're both 4 pints deep, which is pretty good.
I don't think I could do that anymore. Not got that in me.
So there's loads and loads to talk about on the podcast tonight. We're going to look back at the Leeds defeat. We've got Richard Marshall's reaction, and then we're all the big news coming out of the club, and then we're going to preview the Wakefield game on Thursday night. So what we're going to do is start with the Leeds defeat last game.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So Salford Red Devils were defeated against Leeds Rhinos. They went down 38 points to 12. Paul, talk us through it.
Me or Parker?
You're Paul. You're Paul. You're Parker.
You give me that task, have you? I don't remember what happened now. It was a funny sort of first half for me. I think when you think back to it, it was nip and tuck early on, and the sending off, and that sort of turned things round a bit. That Lee Mossop and Conrad Hull incident, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. But for me, the turning point of the match really was the 2 tries that Leeds scored right on half time. Double whammy really. Richie Myler went over twice, took the sting out of us, and really, I thought at half time that's game over. I didn't think it'd see us coming back from that at all. Discipline again, I thought difficult one. You've had a man sent off for 3 matches running, which is unheard of really in rugby league. But I thought Lee Mossop was. I'd have done the same thing, I think. You've got a bloke like Conrad Hull running at you. I mean, it was either he was going to deck him or he decked him. So I think he did the right thing, really. But no, it was one thing about the game. I thought it was very, very, very niggly. There was an awful lot of niggle in that game. It seemed every time we play Leeds, it seems to be like that. I don't know why, but it wasn't a great spectacle, really, the game, to be honest.
Yeah, look at the team selection, Parker. Tuilola here at fullback, Escali on the wing. Both sort of played well, I thought, throughout.
Yeah, Tui did well at fullback. He's played there before. He played there for Leeds, so it's not an alien thing for him. And after his recent sort of turnouts at halfback, it might have been good just to get him out of there, but give us another attacking option from the back. He did okay. And Escali, well, I mean, his try alone was. It was simply magnificent. It was very rare you see wingers do that these days. Actually, take somebody on the outside, and to do it twice around 2 players was something special. But probably one of the very few highlights of the day for me. But yeah, they both performed really well. I thought Escalade was really good on the wing. A little bit out of the firing line maybe where he's been in the last few performances. So give him a chance to get a bit of confidence. But he probably is going to have to go back to fullback now. I think there'll be a bit more movement in the team. Kenny Seo will obviously come back in. So, but yeah, no, them two, they were probably 2 of the standout players really for us. It wasn't an awful lot to cheer about, but I'd like you say, I think them 2 made an impact, and I think Tui at fullback probably is his better position at the moment.
Yeah, obviously other positives. Paul, the Chris Atkin interception try. He knows where the line is when he gets the ball off an interception, and there's only one way it's going to end.
Yeah, he did well there, didn't he, Chris Atkin? I thought Chris was pretty steady again. I mean, you get 100% effort out of him every week. I think he worked really hard again. I thought Elijah Taylor got through an absolute ton of work. I mean, I watched him walk off at the end, and he was like a sort of 70-odd-year-old man hobbling off, but you could just see how much graft he'd put into the game. He could hardly stand up. I mean, that's maximum effort, that, from the lad, and the amount of tackling that he did as well. And sometimes I feel a bit sorry for him, because you think, God, if he was in like a side like St Helens, or he'd be a real superstar. I mean, he'd have other people doing bits around him, but for Salford, he just seems to have to do too much work, and he's got a bit of class about him, but you don't always see his class because he's too busy doing all the dirty work. But no, there was some decent performances. I thought Jack Ormeroy came on and ran really well, but I'd like him to get more minutes. I didn't think he got enough minutes for me on Sunday. But there wasn't, like you said, there wasn't a lot of highlights in the game. In that second half, Leeds sort of put the foot on the pedal, really. And I don't really think Leeds played that well. They didn't really need to do. They just sort of, I think there was a couple of times where they just put the foot down and just scored a couple of tries. For me, I thought Leeds ran harder, were a bit more enthusiastic than us, and just did the basics right. With us, I don't know, we just seemed really clunky on attack. I thought we had quite a bit of ball there sometimes, and it didn't really look like we were going to threaten Leeds. So, but it was a step forward against Huddersfield, but I thought it was 2 steps back at weekend. I was really disappointed with the performance.
Yeah, the Atkin-Patton combo didn't quite work this week, did it, Parky? Like Paul said, a bit clunky. It got better as the game went on, but yeah, you kind of think, so what was the difference there from this week and last week?
I don't know. Patton didn't look fit to me, or there was something not there with him. It was pointed out to me at the end of the game that at the start of the second half, we had Leeds pinned on their line. We had a great sort of start to the half and a chance to get back in the game, if you like. And in the set of 6 on their try line, Patton didn't touch the ball once. Now, if you scrum half on a set of 6 on the opposing try line to not touch the ball, there's something not quite right there. Atkin did an amazing shift again. One missed tackle on Myler where he scored, it was a poor attempt, and I think he'd admit that himself. But other than that, he did what he could. But Patton just didn't look right. But the whole attacking platform, and it's been like this all year. Paul pointed out last week about how few points we've scored this season. Again, we scored one miracle try from Escaré and an interception. We didn't actually create anything really for 80 minutes. We looked very, very flat, and there's no creativity there in attack. And that's got to change. Something's got to happen there. We can't carry on like this. Somebody pointed out to me, if the opposition scored 20 points in a game, we're not winning because we're not going to score 21. That's just the way we're looking at the moment. There was a few things in the game though that didn't. I mean, we got a penalty in the first half, and the first time we ran it, and then the second time we decided to take 2. Now, for me, we had Leeds on the rack there, and with 4 of their players having played big minutes on the Friday night, for me, you keep the ball going, you keep the attack going, you keep pressuring them, try and wear them out. It might not work straight away, but later in the game, it'll have a different impact. And we took the 2, and even though we kicked it, we were still behind. It was kind of an irrelevance of a penalty. I think it was a complete waste. And at that point, if we'd have put our foot on their throats a little bit, who knows? You score off that set, you go into the lead. It's a different game. You've got the ball back rather than, I just didn't understand the decision. There was things like that. And Paul mentioned Taylor, and I'm full of that. I love the guy. I think he's brilliant. But he's getting no protection either. I saw at least 3 cheap shots on him on Sunday, which the referee, I think he saw one of them at least and gave a penalty, but it was worse than that, and he didn't bother. And if I was Richard Marshall, I think I'd be pointing out to the RFL. He's doing these massive minutes in both defence and attack, and then other teams are targeting him with ridiculous cheap shots. One off the ball, which was, I don't know if the Salford player had done it, he'd have walked. There's no 2 ways about it. So there's things like that, and they're going to stifle him. They're going to take that energy out of him because they know he's full of energy. He will keep us going, and he's a bit of a leader on the park. But yeah, there was just a few things in the game that seemed a little off again to me. Like last week, we were full of energy. We were 12 men against 13 rather than 12 against 12. And even when it was 12 against 12 or 11 against 11 at one point, Leeds seemed to be able to outnumber us. Again, even in defence, they scored a try off a tap, I think it was. And they just went inside and then turned the ball back to the wing. And we had nobody there. And you can't play like that. You can't blame numbers because we both had the same numbers. It's just players switching off. And we weren't on our game again this week. And like Paul said, it was definitely 2 steps back this week.
Yeah, talking about Richard Marshall, I spoke to him after the game, and this is what he had to say.
Coach's Corner.
Yeah, no, the
game, another sending off and 2 sin-bins this time. What did you make of the incidents, and how do you improve the players' discipline in such heated moments?
I think as a group, we've got to understand that there's certain things we can and can't do, and there's certain things the opposition can and can't do, and we can only take control of what we do. Our tackle technique's got to be better. Our resilience during them tough periods, it's got to be better as well. But there's got to be a bit of consistency. A couple of players from the Leeds were throwing punches and they got sin bins or stern talkings twos, and we just think we're getting a bit of a raw deal at the moment. But at the same time, our group's got to put the hands up. It just puts us all under pressure. It's never about one person, whether they score the winning try or get sent off. It's about a collective team effort.
Yeah, you recall Tuilol here and played him at fullback and put Morgan Italy on the wing. Both played well. Do you think it's kind of a positional sort of permanent change now, or do you think it's just more playing them there until you get some bodies back?
Well, yeah, we're lacking with Kevin Brown being out. We lost some leadership when Lee Mossopop obviously went off. We're lacking some direction, some leadership. We played pretty much there with 3 halves, didn't we? With Deck, Chris, and Tui. We wanted to get Morgan in. We thought Morgan's ready to go, and he's probably not an out-and-out winger, but he's got some pace. He's got some skill about him. Tui played pretty well, really. We think he can, organise our last plays a lot better. I think that was probably the learn from there. That's all, which he has to do when he plays halfback as well.
Yeah, losing 10-6 at the back end of the first half. We had Leeds under pressure. We decided to take a penalty kind of in front of the posts. Did you make that call, or was it the players?
Well, we had a penalty. I think it was a previous set. We chose to run it. We got a little bit nearer. We got a penalty, and we thought, it was a gimme for us. I think that was my call and the players off the back of that.
Yeah, second half in a tough scenario, you sort of put the effort in towards the back end. What did you learn from that second half?
Well, we learned that we didn't give in. We don't give in here, which is good. But we learned we've got to be a lot smarter in our defence, in our contact. I thought Brad Dwyer had a field day against us. He was really quick and elusive and broke us down several times. There's a lot to review in that game. There's quite a lot of people who've got to look at their performance within our group because it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, with injuries and suspensions mounting up, the Wakefield on Thursday and Hull on Monday, it's a tough test for your squad.
Yeah, it is. It's just going to get tougher. If we keep playing that way and putting ourselves under pressure, it's going to keep getting tougher. But it was tough last week. We managed to come through. We'll come through this one again. We will. But it's a big game on Thursday for us.
What's the biggest test? Is it a physical or mental thing in these next 2 games?
Not quite sure. It depends what team we get out, on what we can get out on Thursday. We'll hopefully have a couple back. Obviously, Greg Burke will be back. I'm hopeful Danny Addy will be available. I'm sure we'd have picked up a couple more injuries today, though. Listen, the game was originally on Friday. It's 2 days. It probably doesn't make too much difference, but it'll be obviously Wakefield are coming off a decent performance as well, so it'll be tough for us. But listen, we'll be fighting on Thursday, guarantee.
Cheers, Rick. Good luck.
But not getting red cards. When I say fighting, I don't mean fighting. Fighting. Trust me.
Yeah,
I've had enough of that.
Cheers, Rick.
So that was Richard Marshall talking to himself after the game, Paul, and he did mention the moment where what Park is talking about now about taking that 2-point penalty just before the end of the first half, and he did say basically it was a gimme because they backed up 2 penalties and just thought they needed something when they got to that end. What does that tell you about him as a coach and the players' mentality? Do you think they're short of confidence and they're thinking we'll get something, and if they didn't get something, their heads would go down? Or is it just tactics, and which obviously went, not being capped in hindsight, but went horribly wrong because Leeds scored 2 tries within like 5 minutes after?
It tells me that they're not confident in scoring points. They don't believe that they can score tries. Somebody put on Twitter the other day, we're averaging, is it 11 points a game, 10 points a game? It's an absolute joke. You can't. I mean, 2 tries. If we score 3 tries, you're putting the flags out. 2 tries a match. I don't know. That's what I got from it on Sunday when they kicked that penalty goal. It was one of those there. Yeah, I could see an argument for it. It got us back to 10-8, but you weren't leading. So I think it would have made more sense to run it, especially like Parky said. They've had players on a short turnaround. I think it was like, 36 hours since the full-time out on Friday night, so they've not had long to break. We just don't seem to have any ambition on attack at the moment, and it's safety first, that kicking the 2 points, but you've got to have a bit more, you've got to be more direct. I thought the weekend we tried going lateral all the time, and just Leeds were very direct. They'd run the ball in Aledzki, they made the ground, they got on the front foot, and then Dwyer and the other lad at Hooker, was the other Lehman, they just crucified us. And that's where we've not got that. I know Andy Ackers is learning on the job and he's new to Super League and that, but we've not got that direct man at Hooker making those cheap yards. And for me, Leeds were just steamrolling us down the pitch, and their pack of forwards just dominated it, really. Another thing that doesn't help you as well, I mean, I know Lee Mossop descending off was, it's one of them, really, isn't it? What could he have done there? But it doesn't help. We had a man sent off and we had two men sin bin, so it's disrupting things all the time. And then you've got to shift players around, and I'd just like us to have 13 men on the pitch just to get us through a game. There's a lot of mitigating factors at the moment, and you can't blame Richard Marshall for them. I mean, what could he have done about the sin binnings and the sending off? I mean, I didn't. The Jack Wells, when I was following the ball, so I didn't really see that. I know believe it was a dangerous throw, was it, or a dangerous tackle? The Ryan Lannon one and Gale. Gale took exception to something in the tackle because I had my eye on that and I saw what was going on, and he just went for him, chucking punches. It's like, what's going on with that? Why is Lannon getting sin binned? He didn't really do anything, Lannon. He just stood there and took the punches. So I'm glad Gale got banned because I think he deserved to get banned. So I thought Robert Hicks, the referee, didn't have any sort of control over it. I'm not blaming the referee for the result, but it was a poor game to watch at times. Really, very scrappy.
Paul, being the Sports Zone's boxing correspondent, talk us through the sort of the Lee Mossop punch. I know it's not what we wanted, being down to 12 men, but it was clean.
Well, you say that. I've seen a couple of replays of it, and it does look like it sort of glances. It don't look like a flush on, but I mean, I won't like taking one off Lee Mossop. But I was thinking to myself, if he had hit him flush on, real flush on, he wouldn't have got up. So it was still a cracking punch, though. I mean, that's one of the best punches I've seen for years. I've seen some good ones. I mean, I remember that Terry O'Connor and Gordon Tallis one in the Test match at Old Trafford I went 2 years ago. That was a good punch up. But no, that was a cracking punch from Lee Mossop. And to be honest with you, I watched the incident. I remember seeing it clear as day because following the ball, Mossop knocked on, and he got frustrated. And I think he sort of threw Hurrell on the floor. It was a good tackle, and Hurrell didn't like it because he roughed him up. And he sort of chucked out at him at the play of the ball, through. So he threw the first punch, and then I think Mossop sort of shoved him back, and then he went for him. And so what's Mossop supposed to do? If Conrad Hull had caught Mossop, he'd have gone down, wouldn't he? So he's defending it. I think Marshall's right when he says he's defending himself, but perhaps he should have just pushed him away rather than knocking him out.
Yeah, Parky, I suppose, at what point does Conrad Hull think, oh, this is not a good idea?
Probably when he woke up. It was. I mean, I went back to the pub after the game, and everybody in there was absolutely buzzing about that moment. It was, there was there was smiles on people's faces when you mentioned it. It's not what you want. It's not rugby league, is it? We don't particularly need it, but if you're going to get a red card, let's do it right, and that was one of the moments. And I agree. I mean, why is Hurrell chasing him? What's wrong with him? What did the referee or anyone else expect when a player comes running after you? You've got to stand your ground. And like Paul said, I mean, if Hurrell gets the first dig in there, he's a big lad.
Yeah.
He's not 18 stone. He's massive. You get a crack off him, you're probably going down. So, yeah, get your dig in first. And Moose definitely did. And, as much as you don't want to get your players getting sent off, he's every right to defend himself in that way. And like Paul said, the one with Lannon, he got attacked. He got physical. If you did that in the street, you'd be arrested. Luke Gale attacked him, and I think Myler came in and gave him a dig as well. But that's typical of that kind of character for me. With Myler, I think he is that kind of character. But No, I think that, like Paul said, the referee just had no control over the game, start to finish, and like I say, with these cheap shots that he didn't seem to see, and then he starts telling a ball boy off. I mean, control. He must have little man syndrome or something. I don't know what it was about, but he wants to be in control of everything. But he was in control of nothing throughout the game, and he let a lot go that he shouldn't have done. He should have clamped down. And if he'd have done that early enough, a lot of this doesn't happen. But yeah, it was one of them games where I'll be honest, I thought it was one of the worst games I've seen as well, standard wise. I think both teams were poor. Leeds were less poor than we were. I think that's all I can say. It was a bit like the League game earlier in the year. It was just two teams bit slugging it out a bit, but there was no real quality in the game. And I think, obviously cramming an unnecessary international in the middle of it all didn't help either team. But again, on that, one thing that I was a bit disappointed with Marshall not playing at least CO. I mean, I know he scored 2 tries and he played 80 minutes, but how much work did he get through as a winger in that game? And then Paulie came on for about 10 minutes. And yet Leeds managed to play all days except the one that got injured on Friday night. And we didn't put any of ours out. And we were already short of troops. I think he created a problem he didn't need to the other night. And because one of the things that did stand out to me was we didn't make enough meters going forward again. We had no real bulk, whereas Leeds were. Someone like Paulie, even if he gives you an extra 15, 20 minutes in that game because he played the couple of nights before, he just gives you some impact. And we didn't have that. And I think Richie Marshall, I know what he's doing. He's protecting his players. He's looking ahead to future games. But you win the game, you've got to win. You win the game in front of you and worry about that afterwards. And I was a bit disappointed with that. I thought certainly Kenny Seo could have played. I mean, let's be honest, he's not going to hit the ball in off our lot anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But then we probably wouldn't have seen the Escarade sort of miracle try. So swings and roundabouts. But I was a bit disappointed with that. And I think it could have played, you don't want to upset your team too much. And we did. We took a player out that we didn't need to.
Yeah, I think in boxing and in rugby, Paul, it's all about being the big dog and being the alpha. And I think Conrad Hurrell just wanted to make an impression and got found out there. Lee Mossop being the captain and being the prop forward just did what prop forward was doing in that situation for me. He's copped his ban. Hopefully he'll let his rugby league talents do the talking from now on the field. The other indiscipline, Jack Wells, he was sin-binned. I think it was for a kind of lifting his legs above a certain height. I think that was that one. And I didn't quite see the Ryan Lanham one. I just think it was on the ground, bit of scrapping, Paul. But indiscipline, again, but I suppose it shows the sending off that we're having are different types. You're having individual indiscipline and also sort of high tackles and stuff. So it's sort of not like one sort of indiscipline that Richard Marshall has to sort out.
No, we've gone from like the least penalised team a couple of years ago to being one of the most penalised team. Thinking back when we were younger, when we were kids watching them growing up, you very seldomly saw a red card in a season, let alone three matches running. So yeah, we've had quite a lot of sin binnings this season as well, haven't we, for daft things here and there. So it's something that needs cleaning up. But just going back to, I agree with what Parky said there about Kentio. I think he created a problem there, really. It was a big conundrum because if CO would have played, he sorts out that you could have played Tui at full-back and you wouldn't have had the Escalade on the wing line. You wouldn't have seen that try, would you? But I think it sort of created a bit of an issue there of shifting it around a bit more. So I don't know why Paulie didn't play either. And as I said before, I'd like to see Jack Ormerod get some more minutes because I thought when he came on, he ran well, but he doesn't get long enough. He needs a bit more time to get into the game and make you some yards. So this game against Wakefield now on Thursday becomes really important because, as I said before, you've got to beat the side that's in front of you. So we've lost that Leeds game now. You lose this game against Wakefield now, and you go into Hull on the back of 2 defeats in quick succession. You see, he's getting lamped at Hull. So then we've got 2 more away games on the spin. So this Wakefield game is going to be a massive game now to get a result from. So it's gone from that Huddersfield. As I said like last week, it all changes in a week, doesn't it? You go to OK, you get stuffed. You beat Huddersfield, you're on top of the world, then you get stuffed against Leeds again and you're back down there. So you never know, we might tonk Wakefield on Thursday. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, looking at the stats, Parker, Elijah Taylor, one of the top tacklers, 33. Andy Ackers, 37. Oliver Roberts, 26. Harvey Levette, 33. And Jack Wells with 30. So plenty of tackling there from the forwards.
Yeah. Again, we had to. Our ball control wasn't brilliant again, but when you're not creating a lot and you're turning the ball over in bad areas, you're on the back foot. You're going to have to do a lot of defending. And again, like I say, if you're struggling with numbers, you don't want your players being tired out by having to do all the defence, because that's the hardest part. You know, when you've got the ball, the game's a lot easier. But we just keep finding ourselves on the back foot, giving the ball back to the opposition in easy positions. I think the amount of times that they started their set on, the 30 or 40, and we'd start ours on our try line. And by the end of the set, we weren't out of our own half and they were on our 20th. It makes a big difference. And again, like I say, Elijah Taylor there again. Is there a week goes by where he doesn't do at least 30 tackles? No. And he's going to burn him out. We can't expect that from him all the time. We just got to improve with the ball for me. We're doing too much defending, and that will have an effect over the game. And I think when you look at, like you said before, about the 2 tries before half time, sloppy defence on both of them. Is that, the 39th minute of the game, of that half, are they tired? Because they've done so much work the rest of the time. It could have an effect, and certainly in the second half it would. And it was, it was quite a warm day, wasn't it, as well on Sunday? These things will add up. There'll be elements of everything in that. But we've just got to get better with the ball. It's as simple as our attack has got to improve. Yeah,
I think you're right there, Parker. Looking at the meters, Morgan Escalay 201, Elijah Taylor 83, Tuilala here 144, Chris Atkin 136, and Jack Wells 103. Paul, Richard Marshall in his post-match press conference sort of questioned certain players, performance, and they said they'd be looking at it this week, try and get it better. The rest were kind of around about 60 or 30 meters made, which kind of shows sort of what the problem is, that we're not making big meters as a group.
No, you're on the back foot, aren't you? You're not getting out your own half, and then when you like that, you kick at the end of the set. It's a desperate one because you just shut an oomph down the field, isn't it? It's not an attacking sort of kick. I can remember in the early stages of the game, I think, if I remember rightly, Leeds knocked on in their own half twice. I think it was 2 sets running, and it gave us opportunity, and we did nothing on either of them. We never looked like scoring, and their opportunities where you've got to make it count, you've got to put pressure on. If you're not going to score a try, get a repeat set, do something clever, do something smart. We don't. We're not doing that. We're letting teams off the hook and not giving them. We're not challenging them enough. I mean, teams which play us at the moment thinking, oh, they're easy, Salford. They're easy to play against. They don't test us. They don't really do that. I mean, that Leeds team, as we said before, players who played on Friday night in that test match game, we should have been roaring out against them and tiring them out. Instead, it looked like all our players have been playing on Friday night, and it was a real disappointing performance. And you feel for Richard Marshall because it's not like he can drop players and bring loads of players in because he's struggling for players. You've not got the amount of players in your squad to do that. So it's going to be tough for him this week naming a side.
Yeah, big thanks for your 3-word match reports from man of the matches. Ricky P from Sale with his dogs. Now going forward, Reece Williams with his man of the match. Salford Reds fan demoralised with it. Taylor. Gary Williams pouring attack. Wells. Stuart Smart, edge defence, non-existent. That's more than 4 words, that, Stuart. His man of the match was Atkin. Dom Hall, Rhinos knocked out Mossop. Quality swing, that, but so we talked about that. Your mate, Roy Allenby, Paul, you don't like Leeds, but his man of the match was Elijah Taylor. Colin Wilson, discipline, still poor. Parker. It's one of them where they're going to have to fix it up because you can't go into every game and lose a player every week and expect to win.
No, like you said before, though, I mean, they are different. The one last week where, all right, it was the wrong player who went off. Sarge is going in to do a ball and all tackle to save a try. He's got it wrong. It wasn't, was it dirty player? I don't think it was. I think he's a wholehearted player. This week, it's a punch that could have been avoided if their player hadn't been an aggressor. That kind of thing. The Jack Wells one, I saw it happen at the time. I thought, he's just unlucky there. He's got the tackle wrong. It's a penalty, and then I've seen it again. And yeah, I think, maybe if it was against our player, I might want the opponent to get a yellow card. But it's just unfortunate. We've seen Jack. We've praised him enough. That's not his game. He's not a dirty player. He's got a tackle wrong. That's all. They are all different. Chris Atkin got sin-binned at OKR for an absolute. Well, it wasn't even a penalty to start with. Never mind a sin binning. But then you get Paulie charging a player off the ball. You know, these things happen. Discipline-wise, for me, it's going to sound... I don't want to sound like I'm digging them all out, but I think we're getting treated unfairly. I honestly do. I don't know why. I don't know what we've done. I don't know if the showers in the referee's room are cold at the AJ Bell or what. I don't know what it is. Whether we don't give them, you know, the right tea, whether they only drink Yorkshire tea or whatever it is. But Leeds did things the other day that I've not seen teams do since the 80s. Really cheap, and there's another word for it, but should we say cowardly tactics that didn't get punished. And if we'd have done them, you know, for a fact we would have been. You know, things like where players don't play the ball right, things like that happen, and we get punished. And I try and be like balanced during the game, and I'm watching it and trying to take, you know, not listen to other people, just trying to see what's in front of me. And even then, I'm shaking my head, going, "Well, they've just done the same thing and got away with it." So this discipline thing, there is an issue clearly, but a lot of that comes because you are defending a lot. You're trying to slow the play down. You're trying to just try and pull something a little bit, you know. But I don't have us down as a dirty team still. I don't think we are. I think we're just getting punished for every mistake we make at the moment. And I don't know where you lay that blame. The coach can only say so much. When they go on the pitch, it's up to them to use their own brains, the players, to not get in them positions. But then sometimes they haven't created a problem in the first place. It isn't a penalty, but they're getting penalised. So it's a tough one. But if we play with the ball a little bit more, we probably won't get punished as much. So that's the key.
So technical errors rather than being thugs.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying out with Parker.
Yeah, very much so.
Other news: Dave Noctor, not the best Taylor. Alan Walker, keep the faith. Atkin, Chris Sloan, Gales, Toupee ruffled. Williams. Paul, you said not many positives. Taylor.
Yeah, no, I didn't think there was many positives to take out there. Come away from the game like really good, because the Leeds game is one I always look out for, and I know certain supporters do. We've not got the best record against them. We've got quite a bit of history with them as well, and it's a game I always look out for and want us to do well in. And I didn't think we did. I didn't think we did ourselves justice. I just thought it was a poor performance. We were lacklustre. I think we tend to look frustrated sometimes, and I think that's why we tend to give these penalties away. There's a lot of frustration running through the team. Perhaps we're getting a bit desperate as well. Things aren't going your way. But you've got to respect the ball a bit more. You've got to do a bit more when we've got the ball. You know, we tend to give the possession away, and then we're working too hard sometimes. You've got to play a bit. They say it to us at work sometimes. You know, it's not about working hard. It's about working smarter. And I've never really believed it. But you look at it sometimes, yeah, perhaps it's true. Perhaps it is true. Perhaps we do need to be a bit smarter on the ball. So yeah, I was disappointed because I didn't take a lot of positives out, because I didn't think Leeds played that well. But yeah, they still lamped us with 38 points. So disappointing, especially at home as well.
Yeah, it was disappointing after last week's heroics, Parky. But you know, we'll dust ourselves down. Lost a few more bodies, as we'll come into it in a minute, and we'll go again on Thursday, which is a bigger game really than the Leeds one that we think we might win.
Not for me. I think Wakefield at the moment are actually a better team than Leeds. I think this is the worst Leeds team I've seen in my lifetime. I will say that. And I said it on Sunday. And that's what's most depressing about conceding 38 points, is that Leeds are nothing special. We gave Luke Gale the run of the pitch as much as he wanted. And he just made things happen. And that you can't do that. It's simple. You know who their main man is. The rest of them, for me, are average at best. That's as good as it gets. Wakefield, I like Wakefield. I like watching them. I like the way they play and the spirit they've got. I think they're a decent team. And as I said last week, you've got to target the game in front of you. No game should be any bigger than any other. But if we'd have beat Leeds, the confidence building up now to Thursday night is completely different. Now we're looking around, licking our wounds, going, who's going to play, who's got confidence, you know, another hammer in. Where do we go from there? That's the problem for me. I think that's why I was disappointed that he didn't field Seo and Paulie as well. Try and get your best players out on the park as much as you can, and worry about the next game after that. That's what we can do. But yeah, it was just disappointing because, like I say, Leeds didn't have to work hard. They didn't have to do anything special. There was no no craft in what they did. That's why I said earlier it was a poor game. But if that was your first game of rugby league, it might well be a last. Except if you like boxing, because that was the excitement with all the fights. But yeah, there's so much to do. But the confidence of the players, it looks like it's on the floor to me. And after last week, it's surprising, because you would have thought they'd have come out this week absolutely flying, buzzing after a win, knowing that Leeds had 4 players who played big minutes a couple of nights before, and we just didn't look. We didn't look right. We didn't look up for it.
Yeah, that's what we've got to say though, Paul. That we've lots of injuries. Obviously, a team that's not full of confidence. Sort of trying to feel the way back in to the season, and that's why they are struggling.
Yeah, what is it now? 2 wins in 11. So it's pretty desperate, really, that form. And I mean, I saw it mentioned the other day. How many points did London get a few years ago when they got relegated? I think they got about 20 points, and they won about 10 games. So I can't see us winning anywhere near 10 games this season. So it's it's been disappointing. Yeah, I think there is mitigating circumstances, but there always is when you're struggling. When you're struggling, you always seem to get injuries. There always seems to be loads of problems. Confidence isn't there, and we say you get your confidence from winning games, don't you? So we had the ideal opportunity there. You beat Huddersfield against all the odds. Great performance. Fans were going bananas. You come back against Leeds at home. We've not won in front of our home supporters. That's when you need to kick on, really. You need to come out and really play well against them, and I don't think we did. I don't think we played well, and we've got to somehow dust ourselves off and play well against Wakefield, but obviously, I don't want to say too much about Wakefield because we'll preview them in a bit, but they're a decent side. They've got a good spine, good half backs, good back rower in Matty Ashurst, who always plays well. Got guys like Tom Johnston playing for them on the wing. They've got danger players. So I think they're just as good as Leeds. So it's going to be another test for us.
Yep, so that's our look back at the Leeds game. And what we'll do, we'll look at all the big news coming out of the club this week. So, Parky, we'll start with you. Jack Wells and Lee Mossop banned for 2 matches, and Joe Burgess banned for 1 match. Running out of bodies.
Yeah, once again, obviously I think we knew as soon as the punch landed that Mossop was getting a ban, which is a shame. Jack, I feel for. I think he's in great form. I think he's giving everything for the cause, and he gets one tackle wrong, and he gets a ban. That's tough on him, because he's been really good for us. And the Joe Burgess one, I still don't know what happened. I still don't know who he punched and why. I don't remember the incident in the game, and I've racked my brain since, and I still can't pick it out. And I watched the Super League show last night on the BBC, and there was no mention of it on there. There was no. I didn't see it. I can't really comment. But Joe Burgess punching people, really? Considering what, as I said earlier on about the Leeds, some of the Leeds tactics, seems a bit of an odd one. So that's a big shame, because he's obviously just trying to get himself up to speed now after a long period out. And when you are losing players, it's tough. I mean, the only plus will be that Ken Seo will come back into the team for him. So we do get an extra body in there, but losing Moose is big, because as a skipper, he leads from the front. He's been nothing but phenomenal for us since he joined us. He rebuilt his career, and he's been a proper leader. So not having him again, basically 3 weeks on the bounce, really, when you count up the minutes that he didn't do. On Sunday, he got injured in the warm-up at Huddersfield. He's a big miss, a really big miss, because you need a leader in the pack, and we've got Taylor in there who's doing that, but you need your captain, and they're big blows, and it's a shame for them all, but you could certainly see the Mossop one coming, so that's that one's fair enough, but the others, I think might be a little harsh. I don't know. Yeah,
it's going to be a difficult period for Richard Marshall's men, Paul, in the next few weeks. These games come in thick and fast. Obviously, with injuries as well, it's a difficult time for everyone.
It is. And I was thinking to myself the other day about the suspensions and that. I mean, every week now, they announce it, don't they? The RFL or the tribunal thing, and it's. I think like years ago when I first started watching rugby, no one got banned really. You only got banned if you chin somebody. So like now it's like every week someone gets banned. I mean, did Jack Wells really deserve a ban for that? Is it a ban? I mean, we're not playing tiddlywinks here. It's a physical contact sport. And, yeah, all right, he's done a bit of a tough tackle, but does it warrant a ban? You got sin binned in the game. So you lost him in the game for 10 minutes. So why are you getting stung again? It's like Lee Mossop. Does he deserve 2 games for that? He got sent off, so sending off sufficient? I think some of the banning and that is pretty harsh these days. I mean, I don't know what it's like in Australia with their judiciary, but they don't seem to be banning players willy-nilly like we are. I mean, it's when they come over for that World Cup, if they come over, you watch when they play, and there'll be no messing about. They won't be playing tig and pass with us. They'll be absolutely mincing us in the tackles and really putting the hits in and that. And to me, when I watch the NRL, I don't watch as much of it as I'd like to, but I always think there's something different there with theirs. It's a lot more physical, and as the players are bigger for the kickoff. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems to me like I don't want to have a go at referees because it's unfair. But sometimes I look at them and think, have they ever really played the game? Do they understand physicality of it? It's difficult when you play sport like that before. You sort of it's physical, don't you? And you know people get hurt and things like that. And it's part and parcel of it with referees. And I think they just seem to. It's hard to describe it, but I don't know. I think sometimes they weighed the cards a bit willy-nilly for me, really. And these sin binnings and that, some of them are a bit silly. Look at Atkins the other week. I mean, what was all that about? They're poor, aren't they, some of them? Let's have it right.
I think, personally, what it is, referees, they're only human, aren't they? I think they need more help. I think they'll need to have the, video refs at every game, more cameras at every game, so they have much more easier way of making decisions. They're only one human being, Parky, and they can only see it in real time, and sometimes they get that decision wrong.
Yeah, but it's always been that way. And they used to be amateur referees, now they're professional, and they do the job worse for me than they ever have done. Like you say, don't want to bag them. We haven't got a game without them. But I mean, what I couldn't get my head around was in the first half, 2 men square up to each other. There's a punch, there's a fight, 2 men get sent off. In the second half, there is another fight, and they both get yellow cards. So have I missed something here? What's the difference? Is it a red card or a yellow card for a fight? Where are we going with this? I don't quite understand the rule. And then there was punch. He was given the signal for punches being thrown in a tackle, which were just penalised. There was no sin binning. There was no. He made 3 different decisions for the same incident, and I don't understand what we're supposed to do. The game used to run with amateur referees, and they got a lot more respect than they do now. It's because they did the job and they made a decision, and they used to let the linesman help them as well, which they don't anymore. The linesman could put his flag up and get ignored because the referee is the centre of it all, bit celebrity. It started years ago with Ganson and people like that, Kirkpatrick, people like that, who want to be the centre of that game. And it upsets me now because the amount of people have said to me in the last couple of weeks, rugby league's dying. And I think part of it is not just from the RFL, because we know that they're incompetent, I'm afraid, but it comes down to the referees as well. I don't think most of them are good enough to do the and the decisions that are made. One week, me and Paul spoke about this a few weeks ago, funnily enough, after Chris Atkin had got a yellow card for a ball steal, a perfectly clean ball steal. The week after, Warrington played Saints, the same referee and the same incident happened, and he let play go on. You can't win. You can't. It depends who you are and where you are.
Or he's learned from it.
And that's part of the problem. But then they're passing things on to the disciplinary, which they could deal with on the pitch. So they've got to then look like they're doing something. They've got to justify their job for the disciplinary panel. What's the point of it? So they're handing out bans left, right, and centre. They didn't see the incident. They didn't see the build-up to the incident. They didn't see something might have happened, a tackle before, and this guy's frustrated. Why? The referees have got to make these decisions. And like I've said, I mean, I defended McLeod this last week. He made the wrong decision. Well, he sent the wrong player off. He shouldn't have done. He's right in front of him, but he did. But I actually think he's a decent referee. I think he's fair. He doesn't seem to have a side or choose the bigger club over the smaller club. And that, I don't think it's the same for all of them. I think some do sway and are a little bit worried about what might happen to them. Will I get the cup final or the grand final if I penalise this team? You see, you know, I mean, if you only have to see the decision of moving our game from Friday to Sunday, that somebody's in control of the rugby league that for me shouldn't be. So outside influence, but yeah, I think like Paul said, I think is the game gone soft? No, I don't think the players have. I don't think most of the players will be happy to, you know, just get on with it, give a penalty ref and get on with it. But like you say, these yellow cards for all sorts. I mean, a yellow card for a ball steal is the lowest I think the game could ever go.
Yeah. Talking about the RFL, Paul, there's talk's going to go on between the RFL and the Super League realigning again. How do you think that's going to play out? And how do you think the clubs are going to react? Because obviously the Super League are their own kind of body at the moment, and they have sort of the power, don't they? So, how much power do you think they are willing to give away to the RFL?
I don't know, but it should have always been like that to me. I mean, you had it years ago, didn't you? Like Barler, and you've got the RFL now doing, you know, the Championship and what have you. Then the Super League broke away and what have you. So, to me, it should all be under one thing. The Rugby League should be one governing body. I don't care what anybody says. And every club should have like power. It shouldn't just because who you are. And we all know there's a cartel in Rugby League of certain clubs that seem to have a bit more clout than others. And I think it's always been like that since I've watched the sport. And it shouldn't be. And Parky's dead right. Referees are influenced by things like that. I'm pretty sure they are. You know, you got a certain away grounds, and the living crowd give half the decisions, don't they? So yeah. I mean, just going back to referees. I mean, to me, a good referee is a referee when you don't notice him. You don't notice the referee in the match, and at the end of the game, you think, "Oh, what a great game he had." He just let the game flow. He uses common sense. That's all you're asking the referees to do. And I know you said before that they're on their own, and it's a difficult job. On Sunday, they have 2 in-goal judges with them. They've got 2 touch judges with them. There's plenty of people. I'm mad running about the sending off, but he was right in a way. There was like 2 touch judges, 2 what's her names, 2 in-goals. You had the guy on the telly, the 4th official on the side. So yeah, he had a point really, you know, the way things are. And I don't think it's just that. There has been a lot of strange decisions. It's like with the video referee. Yeah, you look at some of them and think, how have they come up with that decision there? So I don't know. I think we overcomplicate things sometimes. I think the referees do anyway. Like, not I'm having a go at them because I think it's a tough job being a referee. I mean, I wouldn't like to do it, and I don't like go on Twitter loads, but I've seen stuff on Twitter this week, and you get people calling referees out and tagging them and stuff and all that. It's just, don't do that. I think that's just silly, that. But yeah, honestly, I don't like slagging referees off and things. But just going back to your original point, because I'm going off on a tangent, I think yeah, I'd like to see it all come back under one roof and have a proper sort of, you know, umbrella that covers all the leagues and the amateur scene as well, and everybody works together, because I think when you're working together you get a better product. I think when it's all different things, it doesn't work for me. You know what, boys, I love a good conspiracy theory, but you two are well on it tonight, looking for reasons why the RFL and the Super League have it in for us. Parkett, I agree with Paul. I think it will work better that everyone's under the same umbrella, and it stops that kind of sort of mishmash between the international game and the domestic game, and hopefully we can build from there.
Yeah. Firstly, going back to that with the referees, I don't just think it's Salford. I think it's
all right.
I think it's the likes of Wakefield and Lee and those that aren't fashionable. I think they do bear the brunt a little bit. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, bringing in 2 incompetent organisations together at once will be brilliant. I listen, like Paul said, I don't understand the split in the first place, but it still seems to work better with the Premier League and the Football League in soccer than the RFL and Super League, tugging against each other all the time. I mean, the last week has proven to me that whoever runs the game can't run the game and shouldn't run the game. I mean, is it going to make any difference? What are they going to decide at the end of the day? Are they going to say, you know, is the Rugby League going to say to Super League, well, you can't do this. You've got to have promotion, relegation. You've got to have, you know, 1 up, 1 down, or a playoff, or you've got to have a top 8. Super League are going to say, no, we make these rules. It's not going to change anything. Nothing's going to move forward because it's a lot for me. Still got this, and especially the RFL, this old flat cap image of running a working men's club. You know what I mean? Selling raffle tickets and have a meat raffle or something. It doesn't seem to have moved on into a progressive. The sport for me, and I know I'm biased, is the best sport on earth. The product on the pitch most of the time, except games like Sunday, is phenomenal. But I think it's being run by people who can't run things. I wouldn't let them run a bath. It annoys me when you see the decisions they make and they think it's logical. And I just don't see the two of them coming together. I don't think they'll agree with each other or anything. There'll be a debate about funding. All Super League clubs are getting this much, but the RFL clubs are only getting this much. Let's merge and let's do. All the Super League clubs are going to go, no, this is our money. I don't understand what they're going to sort out by it. And as for, if it's going to help the international game, well, that needs a lot of help. And I don't trust the people in charge to do that. And I'm being really negative, but I don't like the people who run the RFL, and I don't trust them.
I think it might be worth letting him run a bath to see if they sink or swim, really. Other news, better news, Paul. New signing, Ellis Robinson, signed from Warrington for 2 weeks. 22-year-old, can play second row prop or loose forward. Sounds like a good kid.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he goes now, because I think he's in the squad, isn't he, for Thursday night, and we might be a bit low on numbers. And yeah, he'll be coming to prove a point, won't we? We were chatting before, weren't we, about these loans, and I don't think 2 weeks is long enough for me. I mean, we had that young Ben Davis from St Helens, and he was just starting to come into his own, really. He played in 2 away games, didn't he, OKR and Huddersfield, and I thought he went really well for us. I'd love to have seen him play a bit longer for us. So yeah, let's see how this one goes. We had a bit short on bodies, aren't we? And I know we'll have Greg Burt back. He'll be back this week, won't he? He's done his 1 game ban, but we've got these other bans, haven't we? So yeah, good luck to him, and I believe he's a local lad as well. So yeah, I hope he gets in the side and performs well.
Yeah, it signed for Ottawa Aces Parker, but obviously they went down the problem there. Captain of the Warrington under-19s at one point, and like Paul said, local lad. It's good for us, obviously being a kind of community club. It gives people that pathway.
Yeah, well, you just got to give the kid a chance. I mean, is he going to get a chance at Warrington? Well, not at the moment. The way they're playing, or not much of a chance. They're absolutely flying at the moment, and to break into a team like that's going to be difficult, especially for a young forward. It's difficult. Forwards don't mature much later, don't they? So yeah, let's give him a shot, get a body in. I see young Connor Aspey's in the squad, isn't he, for this week as well? He's been on fire for his little spell in is it North Wales? So interesting. But another one that obviously has come through our system. So that's good to see. Whether he gets a game or not, I don't know. But we definitely need bodies. But yeah, let's see what he can do. Let's give him a chance. I mean, if he's skippered Warrington's academy, he's not going to be a terrible player, is he? So yeah, let's give him a chance. I just wish, like Paul said, we could have these players a little bit longer. Give them a month to try and bed. It takes you a couple of weeks to bed into a new system and get to know your teammates, and then play. And I thought Davies was fantastic for us in a couple of games he played, and hopefully we'll get the same out of this guy. And who knows, might be able to extend it for him. And if he is a local lad, give him a chance to maybe make a move in the end of the season.
Yeah, I think the 2 weeks thing is just the sort of the Super League rule. I think they just keep rotating, like rolling the 2 weeks on if they need him for longer. So yeah, good luck to him. Hopefully he'll shine, and then who knows what might happen at the end of the season. Last bit of news, Paul. Stadium update on the 8th of July at the stadium, the 1873 club. Paul King is going to give us an update on what's going on regarding the stadium. I don't know what's going on with the stage. I'm sure we're going to be very interested to hear what's going on with our future. So yeah, the tickets are free. You can order them online, and hopefully people will go down there and listen to what Paul's got to say.
Yeah, do we want to go down? Do we want to know the news? No, I don't know. I've heard all sorts of rumours, as you guys have, and I think a lot of the other supporters have. There's all sorts flying around at the moment. I think this is a good opportunity for the club to put things out in the open, isn't it? And tell people the facts and tell people the truth of what's happened. So I'm hoping it's positive news, but there's always that nagging doubt in your mind that it might be something, detrimental. So I'll just wait and see. But whatever we end up playing, you just stick with them, don't you? So we'll just have to watch this space on that one, I think.
Parker, you've got one question to ask Paul King about the situation. What would it be?
Well, I mean, first of all, we'll say normally when things sort of break, they get put out on the internet, you know, whatever, the club make a statement. To call a meeting or such like, he always puts the willies up me a little bit, I'll be honest with you. One question. I don't know. I suppose it depends on what the news is. But it would be if we can't play the AJ Bell, where are we going to play? Is there a contingency plan in place? I think that'd be my worry. I don't know. I can't really think of anything that, without actually having an inkling one way or the other, which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
I'd like to know that the club have got a plan though, and we're not waiting for the last minute, and then we get told, "Sorry, you're moving out," and we've got nowhere to go, and we end up, going playing at, I don't know, Broughton or something. I don't know. I'd like to know there is a bit of a plan there, but if not, I'll be at stop lane with everybody else.
My question, Paul, would be, taking the emotion out of it, where's the best place for us to play financially as a club? What about you?
Well, yeah, I don't bother where they play, Rob. At the end of the day, don't change the name and don't merge us with anybody. As long as we're Salford, I'm not bothered. I mean, yeah, of course I want us to play the Super League and I want us to get to grand finals and things like that. That 2019 season is probably the best sort of time I've had watching Salford. I loved every minute of it, and seeing my dad's face at some of the games and that. But if it came down to it and we couldn't stay there, I mean, I'd watch them in the Championship or League One or wherever, just as long as we kept our identity and kept who we are, because that's what it's all about. It's not all about winning trophies and things like that. It's about being part of that family that you've been brought up in. So that's what I fear sometimes when I hear about these meetings. I get frightened that thing that I've always had in my life will get taken away from me, and I don't want it to. I always want it to be there in some shape or form. So yeah, obviously things might change and that, but as long as I can still go and watch the team, I'm not really bothered. I'll just back them wherever they may be.
Yeah, and I suppose the good thing, Parker, the likes of Paul King, Ian Blease, Paul Traynor, Andy Rosler, all have sort of Salford in the heart. So obviously they are businessmen as well, but they will make, if deals need to be done, they'll do good deals.
Yeah, they're always going to look out for the interest of the club. That's the great thing about having people like this that I genuinely believe aren't going to sell us down the river. Somebody else tried it, didn't they, a few years back and didn't like the response they got. So, like Paul said, my only thing is I always just want to stay in the city. I don't want to move in away and I'm going to go and share the ground with Lee or go to Rochdale or somewhere like that. It's bad. Sometimes when you go to the home game, depending how you have to get there, it's like an away game. I definitely don't want to be travelling any further than I have to in terms of, for a home game. I mean, like you say, going to Rochdale or somewhere like that to go and watch your team from a city as big and heavily populated and as progressive as the one we're in, seems that would hurt. But if it meant that Salford Rugby League Club stayed alive, then we'd have to do it. And I'm sure Paul King and, like say, Bleasy and everybody else involved he's looking at that and looking at what's best for Salford to stay alive. These 130 odd years of heritage that we don't want flushing down the toilet just because somebody don't want us to play at their ground, if that's the case. I trust them. I trust these guys, and that's the reason they're there now. Just fingers crossed that it is just an update, or we're putting this to bed, or we're knocking these rumours, off or whatever. But just interesting to go and see what they've got to say.
Yeah, so that's all the news. Now we'll do the amateur report, Paul's amateur report, see what's going on in the local scene and nationally as well.
Here is this week's Devil in the Detail amateur report. We shall start as we usually do with the National Conference Leagues. Oldham St Anne's, they lost their place at top spot of League C. They were beaten at home to Crossfields, 28 points to 22. Saddleworth Rangers beat Clockface Miners, 18 points to 14. Waterhead Warriors 4, Woolston Rovers 44. The fixtures for this week coming up, these are going to be played on Saturday the 3rd of July. League C, Clockface Miners face Oldham St Anne's, Crossfields play Rochdale Mayfield, and Saddleworth Rangers play Woolston Rovers. There's one fixture in the Cross League on Saturday, that's between Wigan St Jude's of League B and Waterhead Warriors of League C. Well, moving on to the North West Men's League, there was quite a lot of no results at the weekend. I'll give you the fixtures and results that we do have. In Division 1, Bury Broncos beat Oldham St Anne's A by 20 points to 10. In Division 2, Cadishead Rhinos 18, Bold Miners 6, Hindpool Tigers 34, West Horton Lions 32. In Division 3, Salford City Roosters were back to winning ways. They beat Rochdale Mayfield A by 46 points to 24. In Division 4, Garswood Stags 20, Higginshaw 21. And the fixtures for this coming weekend, Saturday 3rd of July, Division 1, Chorley Panthers face Bury Broncos, put my teeth back in. Oldham St Anne's A face Widnes Moorfield. Folly Lane are at home to Cadishead Rhinos. Wigan St Patrick's A play West Horton Lions. In Division 3, Lee East A are at home to Salford City Roosters. Rochdale Mayfield A play Crossfields A. Division 4, Higginshaw face Burton Wood Bridge. Langworthy Reds are at home to Garswood Stags. And Division 5, North and West, Preston South Ribble Rabbit Holes play Higginshaw A. And in Division 5 South and East, Burton Wood Chargers face Bolton Mets. Salford City Roosters A face Holton Sims Cross A. And Waterhead Warriors A are at home to Ince Roast Bridge A. Well, there's not much to report from the weekend in the North West Youth Leagues. There was many sort of no results in there. The only result I have got is in Division 1 of the Under-18s, Rochdale Mayfield beat Oral St James 18 points to 16. The fixtures, there's one result in Division 3 of the Under-16, my mistake. Goulburn Parkside 36, Langworthy Reds 4. The fixtures for this coming Sunday, we've got one fixture on Thursday actually, Thursday the 1st of July. I'm doing very well today, am I? 1st of July, Thursday. It's in the Lancashire Cup, Under-16s, Blackbrook Royals at home to Waterhead Warriors. In the North West Youth Cup on Thursday, Wigan St Cuthberts Under-16s play Rochdale Mayfield. The rest of the fixtures on Sunday the 4th of July. Under-18s, Lancashire Cup, Oral St James are at home to Rochdale Mayfield. In the Premier Division of the Under-18s, Waterhead Warriors face Oldham St Anne's. In the Under-18s Division 2, Chorley Panthers are at home to Langworthy Reds. And in Division 3, Ashton Bears Goals face Cadishead Rhinos. The Under-16s on Sunday, Halton Farnworth Hornets are at home to Salford City Roosters. In the Premier Division, also in the Premier, it's Saddleworth Rangers at home to Wigan St Judes. In Division 1 of the Under-16s, Waterhead play Hindley. Division 2, Rochdale Mayfield against Tattle Heath Crusaders. Division 3, Folly Lane at home to Woolston Rovers. And Langworthy Reds face the Roos Pioneers. Right, finally this week, as we usually do, we'll turn our attention to the Betfred Championship and Life Outside Super League. Some fantastic matches at the weekend. Batley Bulldogs 12, Halifax Panthers 22. These are all in the Championship. Bradford Bulls 12, Widnes Vikings 25. Featherstone Rovers keep marching on. They beat Newcastle Thunder 68 points to 12. Swinton Lions were beaten 38 points to 24, but they give London a real scare down there. Oldham 4, Dewsbury 18. Toulouse Olympic go marching on as well. They beat Sheffield Eagles away from home 54 points to 6. And Whitehaven 37, York City Knights 12. Bit of a shock result there. Whitehaven with a good result. In the Betfred League 1, there was 3,146 at this game. Barrow 24, Workington Town 24. What a fantastic matchup in Cumbria that was. Adam Warren, former Salford player, scored a try in that game as well. So a great game there between those two sides. Coventry Bears 16, Doncaster 34. Keighley Cougars 34, London Scholars 22. Rangi Chase made his Rochdale Hornets debut. They beat North Wales Crusaders 38 points to 28. I believe Rangi Chase has injured his arm. I think he's broke his arm in that game as well. So we wish him to get well soon. But a good result for the Hornets. West Wales Raiders 12, Hunslet 38. The fixtures for this week. All the Championship games are Sunday apart from a couple of games Saturday. Both these games kick off at 6 o'clock. Featherstone Rovers play London Broncos and Toulouse Olympic face Oldham. On Sunday in the Championship, Bradford Bulls face Batley Bulldogs. Dewsbury Rams at home to Sheffield Eagles. Halifax Panthers face Widnes Vikings. Swinton have a trip to Whitehaven. And York City Knights are at home to Newcastle Thunder. In the Betfred League 1, Barrow face Doncaster. Coventry Bears versus Hunslet. North Wales Crusaders against Keighley Cougars. Rochdale Hornets play London Scholars. And Workington Town are at home to the West Wales Raiders. That's all I've got for you. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, big thanks for tuning to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube as well. Paul, just before we go, I remember just wanted to mention our YouTube subscribers have trebled in the last few weeks. People wanting to sort of watch us and listen to us as well. It's quite amazing, really.
All right, okay. I was trying face for radio, Rob. Yeah, no, very good. Very good. I enjoyed doing them on the. Now I've got somewhere to sit. I'm on the couch tonight. I've got a little box in the evening. So, yeah, very good. Sounds good to me.
So if you haven't subscribed yet, get on YouTube and subscribe. And when I drop the podcast on YouTube, you'll get it on your feed. So big thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for more Salford Red Devils chat.